This story still haunts me, and even now, thinking about it sends chills down my spine. It happened one October when my family took a trip to a remote resort in Catskill, New York. The place felt cut off from the world, surrounded by dense, dark forests. There were other families at the resort, but everything felt isolated, as if the trees swallowed up all sounds from the outside world. I was 8 years old, awkward and shy, following my older brother's lead in social situations. On this trip, however, Eric and Josh mostly hung out together, leaving me alone to wander. My little brother Craig, only 4, was constantly with my parents, so I was left to explore the eerie resort grounds by myself. I wandered through the vast cement pathways looping around the resort, watching other families play games, but I felt like an outsider. Eventually, I found the arcade inside the activity hall. It was dimly lit with old pinball machines and classic arcade games humming softly in the corner. As I looked around, my eyes were drawn to a door in the corner, its glass strangely fogged, making it almost impossible to see through. But there was something or someone behind it. I stepped closer, trying to make out the figure. It was standing completely still. At first, I thought it was a Halloween decoration, maybe a prop to scare the kids. But something about the way it just stood there, motionless, felt wrong. I shrugged it off and started playing the Simpsons arcade game, but I couldn't stop glancing at that door. Every time I looked, that figure was still there, blurry but watching. My heart started to race. I tried to focus on my game, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. When I lost, I gave in to the growing unease and went back to the door, pressing my face against the cold, foggy glass. What I saw sent a chill down my spine. The figure was no decoration. It was a man, a real, living man. His face, distorted by the strange glass, was neutral at first, but then slowly his lips curled into a twisted smile. My blood ran cold and I gasped, stumbling backward. I turned to run, but something made me stop. When I looked back, the man was gone. My heart pounded in my chest as I cautiously opened the door, expecting to see an empty room. Instead, I was greeted by a narrow, pitch-black hallway. The air was thick and every instinct in me screamed to leave, but I couldn't shake the feeling that someone was there, hidden in the darkness, waiting. The silence was suffocating, and for all I knew, the man could be just out of sight, watching me. I bolted out of the arcade, heart racing, and didn't stop until I was back in our room. That night, as we sat down for dinner in the resort's dining hall, the horror returned. I glanced around the room and my stomach dropped. There, at a table not far from ours, sat a man, alone. He wasn't eating, just staring. His eyes were fixed on me, and when I met his gaze, he smiled. A sickening, familiar smile. I whispered to my parents, but when they looked over, the man quickly turned his head, pretending to be absorbed in his untouched plate. My dad told me not to look at him again, but I couldn't help it. I felt his eyes burning into me even when I looked away. The room seemed to grow colder as the minutes ticked by, and I prayed he would leave. Eventually he did, but as he walked out, he turned to look at me one last time. That smile never left his face. I never saw the man again on that trip, but the memory of him lingers, that unnatural stillness, the way he stood and watched me for so long. And that smile. It wasn't just a smile, it was a promise, a threat. I shudder to think of what might have happened if I hadn't run, or if I'd been alone in that hallway a second longer. To this day, I believe that man was a predator, and I can only hope no other child ever crossed his path.